What's up, otakus? It's your tour guide here. I was supposed to go on. I think I had to set the expectation on YouTube that I was going to go on at 7 p.m. And my apologies if you had to wait longer than a minute for me. I seriously, my sincerest apologies to you. But I was looking for a book. I could not find the book I got about a week ago. I know it was almost 2 weeks ago, and it just took me a long time to find it. I finally found it in the last place I would expect it, but we finally got it. All right, you're in for a treat, guys. This is a very special episode because we're gonna unbox some books from the summer of Superman. This is continuing. It's been a really productive summer. I mean, I had bigger budgets in the past, but for the modest budget that I had, I was able to pick up so much goodness. And they're just people going crazy outside. So basically, I don't know why people are. Jeez. All right, I might just have to yell out the window for them to be quiet. Yeah, so I lost my train of thought, but yeah, it's been a great summer, and I picked up a lot of value. And right around the start of when we did this haul video, I did a video where I was unboxing stuff. I was unboxing 2 packages. And one of the packages we unboxed, and then the second one, when we unboxed it, we had found that the seller had mixed up the boxes. I got some other order, and I'm sure the person that was supposed to get their order got my order. So it took some time to sort out. I had to send my books back through the Mercari process. Same went for the other person who had my books. And once they got returned, I got credit back. And the Mercari seller, his name's Robert. Shout out to you, Robert. I really appreciate all the time and attention and how you work to make it right. And I really, I think, for what, it wasn't that big of a burden on me, but for how you made it up, it is, more than the burden was worth, for sure. So thank you again. All right, we're just going to tear into this because let's just get into it. So I hope it's in a comic mailer this time, because the books last time weren't in a mailer. But no, yeah, he decided to just put the books in under cardboard and stuff like that. That's fine. I did send him a mailer to mail back, but looks like it is what it is. And like I was saying, I picked up a lot of good stuff during this summer of Superman. And again, some of the best stuff in our collection, and really core to what I collect. And we got it all at a very modest budget. And that's what was incredible to me. It's like all of this stuff wasn't necessarily new, but it's like the movie put me in a new focus to just really pick up the stuff I had been kind of lackadaisical picking up in terms of Superman stuff. And but anyway, yeah, we kind of got focused, and then we went full, all in on. We went all in on, where is the? Oh, there it is. we went all in on getting the Superman stuff that we need in the collection. All right, this is good. All right, this is really good stuff. Okay, so first we'll take a look at the original order, and then Robert threw in some extra books. Okay, so we'll do the extra books, but we'll get to the original order. It was just a 2-book order. I paid $20 for these 2 books, and you know, they were great bargains to begin with. This is exactly the kind of stuff I collect, and this is just another Jim Lee book. So I believe I'm at $3.97 at the Jim Lee count. But first off, this is not the last haul video during the summer of Superman. I am going to go to Japan, and I do anticipate bringing back at least 20. You know, I'm not going to spend all my money in Japan. I'm at least going to bring back $20 to take up to Ancient Comics, hit the quarter bins, and hey, Harville, what's up, man? What's up, Tyler? You guys are hanging out. Nice. So, you know, it's not the last haul. We're going to reserve $20 when we get back from Japan, and we're going to hit up the usual suspects with the same kind of focus toward older key Superman and DC books, which is what I should have been doing a lot earlier, because I would have picked up all this stuff. I would have had a track record of picking up more of this stuff rather than some of the garbage I was picking up before. You know, like there's a lot of stuff related to spec and all that, and I really shouldn't have gone down that route. And I'm sure a lot of collectors feel that way, like when something they want comes into their purview, and you spent so much on stuff now that like you kind of like had something interest in, but then it wanes and you kind of fall out of it. So I have a lot of those books right now. It's just like, why did I focus so much energies on stuff that I really don't collect? And yeah, so I kind of like have learned a big lesson. And moving forward, I'm going to be very specific as to what I pick up. And I think for me, it's picking more up more golden, silver, and Bronze Age Superman related books. Doesn't have to be a Superman or Action Comics. It can be Superman Family. It can be Lois Lane. It can be Supergirl. It's just, there's so much there to really dive into and enjoy. I feel like I've fallen down a rabbit hole, and this is the rabbit hole I'm going to live in for the rest of my comic book collecting career or life or whatever you want to call it. And I'm ready to kind of tie up the Jim Lee collection. I'm getting close. But Jim Lee moving forward will also be putting out more Superman books. And so I'm looking forward to actually picking that up and collecting some of the stuff that comes out from Jim Lee. So I know Jim Lee's has another Superman run in him. He just put out Batman Hush. There's the Man of Tomorrow. And the Man of Tomorrow is him, Azzarello. It's a underrated run. It does have a lot of I think what people were turned off by was like sort of the religious theme in that whole run. Not that it retracted from the story, but I definitely felt like that messaging was kind of inappropriate for comic books, like bringing faith, religion, and those kinds of, it just didn't work. And I think that's why a lot of people were kind of like, it doesn't feel like Superman when you're trying to tie him to, he was like obsessed with like creating this like utopia for his loved ones, and that's just so not him. Um, and I think that was part of like his he was maybe not himself. I don't know. Anyway, I gotta kind of like reread that and figure out like why he was because he had amnesia. He did something. He had amnesia, and he was trying to figure out his own puzzle, and he does eventually. But it's a puzzle that he never needed to create in the first place. It was a really confusing story and run. But it like Jim Lee's art is definitely the the highlight of that run. It was just beautifully. It just the story I thought was the lacking part. All right. So with that being said, we're going to do a whole segment on Jim Lee, and it's specific. We're going to do a whole segment on Jim Lee's Superman work. Now, this is it's when you say that, you think, wait, yeah, I mean, you don't associate Jim Lee with Superman, right? You would go Wolverine first, maybe Punisher, and then you have a really strong argument. Well, Batman Hush, right? Like that Jim Lee Batman, the profile that's like on a billion gajillion sketch covers that everybody wants that like side profile sketch of the Batman by Jim Lee, right? It's just like it's iconic, and it's kind of like the that I just think because Batman's so popular, we're quick to say, "Hey, Jim Lee's legacy character is Batman," or Neil Adams' legacy character is Batman. And I always argue, no, those two artists, they're fans of Superman. They have a gajillion covers on Superman, and some of their best work are Superman books, Superman artwork, cover art. So, and again, I come from a biased place because I love Superman, and I'm always gonna think that way. But I mean, I think even an objective person, whether you have skin in Batman or Superman, irregardless, when you look at it objectively, these two artists have expressed love for the character. They've they hold the character in a specific light because they grew up reading the comics. They grew up as fans of Superman, like most creators in comic books from a certain generation, right? You go from Todd McFarlane and back, and you're talking about just generation after generation of people who love comic books because they read Superman comics. So I love that the fact that the Superman movie has brought, this was my sincere hope. I was like, I just want Gunn to make a movie that will be so popular, it would create a new generation of diehard fans. It would generate love and appreciation for this American icon that's just been lacking since my childhood. Growing up, you just got distracted with so many other things, and we put Superman on the back burner, and we just never put him back on the main burner as he so deservedly deserves. All right, so let's get to the haul. Okay, 2 books, $20. We're going to share that first, and then Robert threw in 2 additional books because he was just like, "What do you like?" And he threw in these 2 extra books. And to be honest, for $20 for all 4 of these books, I just feel really lucky. And before we continue, I also want to give a shout out to Josh. Josh is a local collector who I met at Mill Geek Comics. We were digging in the 50-cent bins, and I saw this guy, good-looking, tall guy, just feverishly digging. And like, I hadn't seen that because I'm always like that. I'm kind of like just feverishly digging and very intense on digging. but he was just feverishly digging, and I kind of asked him, "Hey, what are you looking for?" And he said, he collects DC books, and I said, "What kind of DC books?" And he's like, "Everything, anything and everything DC." So I was like, "Well, okay, cool." And I think he asked me what I collect, and I said Superman. Like we just hit it off because we had that DC connection, and we obviously saw a lot of value where we were digging. And anyway, we kind of hit it off. We're talking. We're kind of looking out as we're digging for each other, and yeah, and then we kind of he said we ch- basically we were talking, and then it came out that I was on YouTube and I had this channel, and he's like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I think I might have like watched your videos one time." And so we kind of exchange our social media handles. Now we're following each other. We've been messaging each other. And yeah, Josh, I just want to say I appreciate you, man. I'm looking forward to really uh, you know building more of a relationship with you, and you being my collecting buddy, like just kind of like we'll look out for each other on the hunt. I'll definitely, I will, if there's a specific book you need or want, I'll be looking for you. So thanks, brother. Now, Josh and I are supposed to meet up this Saturday. We're going to do a comic book trade. And Josh also messaged me saying, hey, I've got some Superman books for you just to gift you, and I was really appreciative of that. But yeah, I'm gonna go up there and trade books with him, and then he just said out of the blue, "Hey, would you mind take? I have to get rid of some books. I'd love to give you some of the books that I have. Like what do you collect?" And he's putting together this sort of like box now of books that he's going to gift me. So, I mean, I'm just floored by his generosity. And of course, like I mentioned, Josh, I'm going to head up there. We'll grab lunch, and hopefully, again, we'll do some of this northern, North King County, Snohomish County kind of uh, hunt for comics, and that should be fun. So again, appreciate you, man, and I'll see you this weekend. All right, now we're gonna get to the haul. So the first book we got. So these are pretty much all Jim Lee books, and then again, we're gonna transition into Jim Lee Superman. I'm gonna show you some of the best Jim Lee, like a pretty comprehensive, uh, pretty comprehensive uh, portfolio of Jim Lee's Superman work. All right, here we go. We got Darker Image #1, and this is like my, I think, I want to say sixth copy, or no, maybe fifth copy, fourth or fifth copy of this book. I have a polyback with a card. I have the newsstand. I have just the direct edition. But why did I get another copy of this book, you're asking? Well, this is a double signature, and it's a double signature by none other than Rob Liefeld and Jim Lee's 90 signature. Rob Liefeld's signature is, I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of faded a little bit. There it is right there. That is Rob Liefeld's signature. And then that is Jim Lee's signature in silver. So two 90 signature on this darker image. So this was during their tour, right? During their tour, they were just signing, and this is just a piece of history, piece of his image history right here. And so Robert was selling this for $5, or he was selling it for like more than that, but I talked him down to 5, and he agreed. And it's a double signature Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld book. So I was just, yeah, I heard you saw the Superman movie. The Superman movie is making everybody just happy. Online hate for the Superman movie. I have my theories. I don't think it's actually people doing this. I think it's something more nefarious, but we'll get into that. But yeah, okay. Double signature, darker image number one. This is the first appearance of Death Blow. It's an iconic image piece called Dark Image because it had the series The Max in it. It had this Wolfsbane series by Rob Liefeld, and then it had again Death Blows featuring all these new image titles. A real piece of history right there. So a double signature, Rob Liefeld, Jim Lee, 90s treasure for $5, which is crazy. This next one I got for $9. And so when we consolidated the shipping, this was 15 plus 5, so total 20. Okay. And this is a Jim Lee book, despite its cover, because it's a Jim Lee interview in this book. So this is another just piece of history from my collecting era. And it's a book I've been wanting for a long time. And I got a great deal on what is essentially a VF copy. It's a VF copy here of Marvel Age 90. And as you can see there, it says Jim Lee Speaks Out, page 12. And then Todd McFarlane has this funny 90s reference, and I promise not to rip up your X-Men comics there. This is an iconic Marvel Age cover. It's iconic because it's Todd McFarlane, Spider-Man, web slinging, web flying goodness. It's, again, this is one of his, where it's recognized CBG fan awards for cover art. I think Todd McFarlane got this award for this specific cover and all that. So, yeah, just incredible. This is definitely going in Mylar and into, the classic book bit, So I'm kind of ending the Summer of Superman, at least, sort of part one of the Summer of Superman, because we're going to be back with part two in August. But part one of Summer of Superman is ending kind of with this haul, and they're Marvel and Image books, right? It's just like, how ironic is that? And we're actually ending the part one of the Summer of Superman with two more books that are X-Men books. And as you all know, let me kind of show you what we have here. As you all know, a while back, I completed my 90s X-Men Jim Lee collection. And I thought I had completed it, but let me just show you it and give you like the thought process in my head why I completed it. First off, we got this 90 signature of Jim Lee's first X-Men work on X-Men. See the signature right there. Newsstand. Boom. Next, and so these are all 90 signature X-Men books. Next, we have cover A. Oh, sorry. Here we go. Cover A. This is a quadruple signed copy of X-Men 1 cover A. Bob Harris, Scott Williams, Chris Claremont, and Jim Lee all signed this book. 90 signatures, by the way. This is cover B. Jim Lee's signature's right there on the top. 90s goodness, his 90s signature. Cover C. This is the cover that he famously holds up with when in his video with Stan Lee. It's just Stan Lee's little, Marvel feature where he features the artists and all that and talks to them about their process, gets you to kind of learn about the artistic process a little bit. But yeah, they're just having a blast. X-Men had just sold 8 million copies. Stan has a hard on while Jim's talking, and Jim holds up this book. And I have this signed by Jim Lee in his 90 signature and Stan the Man. So this is a very special book for me because we have that uh, what will forever be enshrined as like a conversation between a legend and a future legend, right? So what a special moment for those collectors there. We have cover D, the 90s signature, and we have cover E, which is the gatefold featuring all the covers. Now, the 90s signature here is not exactly a 90s signature. This is like a later 90s signature because this signature would then transition into a one motion signature, which is this modern signature. And that didn't bother me. I just was like, I want the night. It still technically counts as a 90s signature. And I got the book. And we got this book for like 20 bucks, 25 bucks, somewhere around there. And we're happy to pay the price. But when we got it, they packaged it so poorly that it bent. And you can see it right there. You see it right there? It bent. And it's not a color breaking bend, but this is a cardstock cover. Well, it's a cardstock cover, but it's cheap 90s cardstock covers. So I don't know if you could press this or not, but I'm imagining that it would present challenges if you pressed this. And so I just accepted it, and it really bummed me out that it got damaged. But what could I do? Well, what I could do is replace it. And what Robert so generously sent was a copy of X-Men 1, 90 signature, a true 90 signature there in silver. Uh, and this will now replace that book as my signed copy of the e-cover, the gatefold. So thank you, Robert. He didn't stop there. He threw in another signed book, and this truly completes my Jim Lee X-Men uh, 90 signature collection. And what we have is X-Men Annual #1, iconic Jim Lee cover, 90s X-Men goodness. You got Psylocke there. This is just one of my favorites. And we have Jim Lee's 90s signature just glimmering right there as the final piece of this 90s signature collection. So thank you, Robert, for all. Again, I'm going to give you a terrific review. And again, thank you for just being communicative and open and generous. I truly appreciate it. Uh, Let me just say, it was not all that, uh, you know, again, I didn't, it didn't uh, put any kind of inconvenience on me to wait for the books. I was so busy picking up other stuff, so I almost forgot about it. And so when we were able to confirm, hey, it's heading your way, I just appreciate you for staying on top of that. Does it come with the card? Which card? You talking about the Death Blow book? It does come with a card, but it's out of the poly bag. It's just signed. I'm trying to think of. Yeah, I don't think there's a another card with the X-Men books. Thanks, Tyler. If someone has not seen that interview, then yeah, it is awesome, right? Robert did hit me up for 20 bucks. I got three signed books, one double signature by Robin and Jim, and then I got that Marvel Age Todd McFarlane cover. So just, you could tell Robert was a 90s collector, and he gave me just a great deal on those books. So he really hooked me up. X-Men 1. I don't know if the cover E, I don't think it was a polybagged version for this one. So it was, it just sold off the stand like this. So that's or it was a direct edition. There was never a newsstand edition for the cover. Maybe the annual. Maybe the annual was polybagged in a card, but I've never seen one like that. So I'm thinking no. All right. So you're in for a treat now. I don't open up the Jim Lee vault all that often. Uh, but again, Summer of Superman, the Superman movie has me excited. And I just want to plug our Saturday live stream. I'm going on live with Fanboy Prime. We're doing episode 2 of the Kryptonian Council of Comics, where we're going to talk Superman. We're going to talk the future possibilities of DC and just kind of, just shout out what we think, what books we think would garner market value and attention, and what collectors would eventually kind of like land on as this is what I want to collect. This is what I want to have in my collection, and kind of create that demand for specific books that never really would have gotten attention without the success of the movies. And with that being said, that's a great segue into what I'm about to show you. And this is uh, just a very comprehensive portfolio of Jim Lee's work on Superman. Okay. This is mostly cover work, but we do have books where he's worked on the run. Um, and I didn't pull out all of them because there really are a lot of books. I just pulled out, again, the ones I thought were representative of Jim Lee and ones that collectors should pick up if they like Jim Lee Superman. All right, let's get into it. This is Jim Lee's first work on Superman, his first work ever. And we have Superman, the Man of Steel, 119. I got the newsstand edition right here, but it's Superman's first cover art and work on Superman. Very, very good Superman right there. Yeah. It's like he basically sold Wildstorm to DC. He was being this executive for so many years and while he's doing books. But now he sold the company. DC owns his studio and his content, and he's now an employee. He goes right back to doing what he does best and creating value for his new company and his new, his shares in the company. He basically says, "Hey, you know what? Let me work on Superman," and that's what he does here. So, key book, first Jim Lee Superman. Go get it if you can. So yeah, Jim Lee jumps right into Batman Hush as he starts getting going at DC. His inaugural introduct season at DC, and he puts out a banger for his first run on Batman, and that is Batman Hush. He works with Jeff Loeb, who's one of the best writers for best DC writers ever, and he also brings in his inker Scott Williams, and they really they team up with Alex Sinclair, and they create this brand, the Lee Williams Sinclair brand of DC covers, which have sold gajillions, billions, trillions, quadrillion. I don't know. They probably sold a decillion number of comics because that brand is just like money, right? They sign books together. I mean, it's just money, and it's going to get more money now because DC is the hot book. It's the hot thing in town now. Superman books are the hottest thing in town. So I don't care if you collect Marvel, whatever. Just like you got a whole new generation of kids who just want to get Superman books. Young people who are discovering the character and think, hey, why don't I collect comic books now? I love the art. I love the stories. It's bringing a whole new generation into the hobby, into reading comic books, into caring about DC and DC content and characters. So if you're a collector and you're just Marvel, you're really fighting against the current, man. All right, so we do have a newsstand copy of, and these are rare. These are rare for this one. A newsstand copy of Batman 612. It does have a tear on the top. It's there's some creasing and tear on the top, but it looks fantastic. Looks like a high grade book. And man, it's Superman choking out Batman. Jim Lee showing you off the bat his thoughts. Right? You got all these people like saying Batman's the better character. Batman's smarter. He could outwit him. He could beat him in a battle and all that. No, Jim Lee's bringing it back to square one, saying, "Excuse me, Exhibit A. No, Batman wouldn't stand milliseconds if Superman really wanted to kill him." And he's putting fans on notice, right? Like, quit living in your fantasy bubble and come back to Kryptonian reality. That's what that is right there. Kryptonian reality. All right. So the Batman Hush run is a huge success. And you know what? It was just a buildup. He's like, all right, I got to put out a good Batman book. Now DC's like, all right, you got to do more, Jim. What do you want to do? And Jim says, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put out a mirror copy, a mirror connecting cover of Superman and Batman 628 cover, the variant cover. Boom, I'm going to make a mirror cover of the two top heroes at DC and really cement my I'm here at DC, hear me roar, I'm putting out goodness. Boom, I'm going to give you a connecting mirror image cover of the two icons of DC. And this kicks off Superman, Man of Tomorrow. So we not only do we have this, we get a variant cover by Michael Turner. That's freaking goodness. This entire run just beaming with some of the most incredible Jim Lee DC art. I mean, this is just a master hiddenness. This is like Jordan in the like you had 8 years of Jordan like playing and trying to win a title. These are the titles now. He's in the title seasons, the championship years. This is Jim Lee's championship effing years. And if this isn't like, hey, Superman's my legacy character, I can't show you other or convince you otherwise. But trust me, as a Jim Lee expert and collector, and Jim Lee himself has told you, like, who's your favorite character? I love Superman, right? We all love Superman. We immigrants love Superman. That is some frickin' Superman goodness right there. Jim Lee is the first to really be like, you know what, Heat Ray Vision? I'm going to bring it to life. I'm going to make it pop. I'm going to show you the second before he incinerates you, what that looks like. Boom. All right. We're just getting cooking, man. And then Jim Lee decides to go like off the rails. He's like, we're going to do something crazy. We're going to create something called the New 52, and we're just going to strip the underpants right off of Superman, make him look really cool. But he looked naked and he looked stupid, and then they had to put the underpants back on. But this is why I think the New 52 failed, to be honest. Like, the New 52 failed because of underpantless Superman. And we've got some underpantless Superman Unchained goodness right here, right? This is how the New 52 was introduced. It had promising start there with Jim Lee teasing it. They were kind of overtly saying, we're not gonna make the underpants going away a completely obvious thing. But then it became more and more obvious and more weird. And we have him now without underpants in suggestive poses with Wonder Woman. I mean, what's going on here? No one wants to see this. No one approved of this. Who approved and signed off on this huge character change? The essentially the foundational intellectual property of DC Comics. Who would have done this? Yeah, Jim Lee did it. But they brought back. They said, you know what? Okay, we get it. Everybody wants a classic look again. That's what we got to bring back. So maybe it was just an experiment and it didn't work, and now they went right back to underwear goodness. Boom, boom. This is a really nice one because it's Jim Lee cover. He sketches it, and then he uh, incorporates Alex Ross to paint his cover. So this is a Jim Lee is the penciler, and Alex Ross is the painter. And I'm not saying inker because it's not inked; it's painted. It's literally like watercolors. But boom, you got Alex Ross, Jim Lee collab. Got the Alex Ross signature right there. That is a book you want in your collection because you don't get that collabo every day, but you get it here on my channel tonight. Enjoy it. It's Infinite Crisis. It's a dollar book, and it's Alex Ross, Jim Lee goodness. All right, you guys. This is my George Perez signed copy of Infinite Crisis #3. We've got our Earth uh, Earth 2 Superman right there, or the Kingdom Come Superman, right? And Perez's signature on this iconic run as well. And is that it? Is that all the books I have? Oh yeah, no, we got some more. Oh no, we don't got enough. All right, that's it. That's the super. Those are the Superman books. Short and sweet, but yeah. Uh, if if people ask, hey, can Jim Lee draw Superman? Heck yeah. All right, well, that does it for me. I'm gonna now kind of organize my books, have some dinner. I just didn't have dinner yet. So I'm gonna have dinner, and then again, we will. I don't know if I'm gonna go live tomorrow night like I normally do. We'll see. I might. But for the most part, yeah, please go watch the movie, support the movie, be vocal about the movie. Like your voice matters. There's a lot of hate right now being generated around my favorite character, and I'm taking like serious offense to it. And it really has me thinking that it's this Disney cabal. And what I mean by that are there these nefarious Disney actors, whether they're AI bots or whatever you call them. Disney has a huge marketing budget, and they're doing like an influencer campaign to smear the Superman movie, smear the character, smear the all this, but it's getting overrun with actual like people's enthusiasm and like authentic reactions toward their love of the movie and the character, right? So it's this Disney cabal that's trying to keep this narrative of like the movie sucked, the character is not that interesting, and bring back like Snyder Superman. This Superman's too woke and political. It's this like cabal message, and I hope people don't fall for it. I hope people give the movie a chance, an honest chance. Don't get caught up on political ideology because I don't think this movie is that. It is that does have an ideology, and that ideology is just what Superman's been throughout his entire history. It's not some, you know, red blue state like conspiracy. It's or sorry, blue versus red state conspiracy. um, yeah, you could draw some similarities to what's going on right now for sure. It's a contemporary movie, and James Gunn was probably very thoughtful of that. But at the same time, it's not overt. He's not telling you any one way or other. You are making those inferences, right? There are a lot of movies that have this kind of just like DNA built into it. No one likes war. No one likes fascists. No one likes corporate, like tech bros who are running smear campaigns against Superman. Like James Gunn has literally wrote a movie about what is currently the disease in social media right now. He's critiquing the Disney cabal in his movie. And here's the Disney cabal going about oblivious. You have all these people hating on it, and you can just tell by the way they're hating on it, they haven't even watched the movie. They're pretending like they've watched the movie when they haven't, and they're putting this like, like really illegitimate like opinion piece out there. And if you're just scrolling through and you watch that, it might convince you, hey, I don't want to spend $20 on a book on a movie I'm gonna really dislike, and that might deter people from like watching it and making their own judgment. And that's what really perturbs me about the cabal. It's nefarious in that aspect, right? It's like depriving people of entertainment and joy and a positive message for what? So that you can, like, as a Disney content, outsell or do your uh, box office rivals. I just think it's just such a poor way to do marketing. To bring others down so that to pick yourself up. And so Disney cabal, if you're out there and listening, f you, and stop it, man. No one's buying it, so quit wasting money on you know this narrative that no one's buying. All right, that's my little rant for this week. Take it as you will, but yes, I highly recommend the movie, as do pretty much everybody that is in my community who's real and not some like uh sponsored person with like their own agenda, the Disney agenda. I just hope people just give it a chance. Yeah, watch it, and then if you hate it, yeah, go online and spout your hate. And there's a lot of that going on. Like, they watched it and they hate it. Fine, that's your opinion. You can use your channel or you use your platform to express that opinion because it's you. But it's not a very good message when the movie is really, the point of it is to be kind and to do unto others without any expectation, um, or it really is like a selfless act of helping people and you know saving people. It's a great message. I don't know why people have this problem with that. I wish they'd just take a step back and really look at the way they're acting, the way they're you know communicating all this negativity. It really just is a reflection on you, and that's what Superman, this movie, is doing. It's pointing a finger at you and saying, like, would you step up? Would you fight for everyone? Can you be a symbol of hope for others? That's what it's really challenging us to be. All right, with that being said, watch us for the Kryptonian Comics Council on Saturday. Me and Fanboy are going live this weekend. So I expect to see all you there. Gordon, Tyler, Harville. All right, I expect to see all of you guys there. And whoever's catching this on the rewind for sure. But happy collecting out there, guys. If you're a DC collector or if you're just getting into DC now, it's going to be a fun summer Superman. Collect what you like, collect what you love, and hopefully that's Superman now. All right. Peace out. We'll see you in the next one.